3. Solve for x by factoring. X squared plus 10x plus 16 equals 0. So we're solving for x, as it says, right? But it also tells us which method. It tells us we have to use factoring, okay? Why does factoring help us? Because when we have two factors multiplied to equal to 0, we know we could set each factor equal to 0, right? Because of our zero product rule, two things multiplied to equal 0, one of them must have been 0. So we're going to take this equation, x squared plus 10x plus 16, and we're going to factor. Before you start factoring, you always check that the equation is equal to 0. In this case, it is, right? Because, again, the only reason that it works to solve by factoring is because of our zero product rule. So if we're not multiplying two things to equal 0, it doesn't help us. Okay, but it's equal to 0, so now let's start factoring. We're going to take that x squared, put it up here. Then we're going to take our 16, put it back here, down there. So now with that 10x, this is not going to be the same as the last video where we were completing the square, right? We don't have to divide it in half evenly and do 5x and 5x because we're not making a perfect square this time. We're finding the factors of the numbers that we have with the 10x and the 16. So if we have 16 as our whole number, 10x as our x term, we need two factors of 16, so two things that multiply to 16 add up to 10. So let's think about that. There's 1 times 16 to get 16, 2 times 8, 4 times 4. Which of those adds up to 16? Well, that would be 2 times 8. Sorry, doesn't add up to 16, adds up to 10. Multiplies to 16, adds up to 10. That would be 2 times 8. So our x terms are going to be 2x and 8x. So we're going to have x times x over here, x times 2, and x times 8. Okay, so let's just check that that works. X times x gets x squared, x times 2 gets 2x, 8 times x gets 8x, 8 times 2 gets 16. So what are the factors here? X plus 8 and x plus 2. So I'm going to write out the factors. X plus 8 times x plus 2. That's another way of rewriting this expression. And we still need to write that that is equal to 0. Okay, now that we have two factors equal to 0, we could set that are multiplying to equal to 0, we could set each one equal to 0. We could say either x plus 8 could be equal to 0, or x plus 2 could be equal to 0. And then you know how to use inverse operations to get x alone. So we could subtract 8 here, and we have x equals negative 8. Subtract 2 here, and x equals negative 2. So those are your two solutions. X equals negative 8 and x equals negative